Suzanne Letourneau. I'm an author, speaker, and entrepreneur. And with me, I have
Audrey Van Petegum, and I'm a professional blogger and social media maven.
And together we are the Ballyhoos. We promote an essential method. And today we have something really special for you. We have put together this wonderful presentation about the 5 points to branding. Now, for you out there that might know a little bit about branding, you know, there's so many things to cover, and we only have 30 minutes with you. So we're going to cover as much as we can in order to give you an idea of what needs to be addressed in branding. Before we start, I just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to be talking about in here. So we're going to talk about, we'll help you discover the real and new meaning of branding. Then the little secret that maybe you don't know about great branding, the fundamental steps for the brand process, and how to create your brand message. Audrey, did you want to add something to it? I went through it very fast.
No, I think that's good. I think we should start probably with the question, what is branding? Because people may not know.
Absolutely. So give me a second to go to our screen share over here, and we're going to be able to start right away. So let's go to the first point. Give me 1 second here. Okay, what is a brand? You go ahead.
All right, well, a brand is really a concept. It is what you stand for, and probably more importantly is how people will perceive you to be.
Yeah, I agree with you. So therefore, would you say that a brand is active and how do you say that in English? Intentional?
Intentional.
Oh my gosh, intentional, yes. So, you know, so I feel that because of that, because the perception always changes, a brand is always active and intentional, correct?
Correct, which is a real key point, Suzanne, because people that are online, that have social media platforms, and they're not even thinking about it, well, guess what? They have a brand already, and it could be a negative brand for all they know. But anything they are perceived as is their brand. So there has to be some intention when creating a brand.
And so if there's an intention behind, of course, an intention has to do with relationship and experience that you create for your audience and your client, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, because so if I may add to what is a brand, then I would like to add to what you said that it is also something that people can identify to. It's always a frame of reference. They associate certain qualities to a brand, and I think what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about some particular brands, right?
Yes, and what makes you unique within your field. And there's some great examples here, and I know, Suzanne, you have a example.
Okay, so it brings us to this. I think you want to add a little bit on this.
Ah, right. Okay, so yeah, before we go into that, so a brand is, when you look at a brand, image. There's colors, an image, a photo, an avatar, and when you look at the screen right now, I don't need to even know the name. I know the check mark or the swoosh is Nike. I know the golden M is McDonald's. You know, they're just very, very clear branding there.
Right. So I think what we need to talk about and explain to people the difference as well between maybe branding yourself or branding. What are you branding?
Right. Exactly. So the first question that someone has to ask themselves is that branding themselves. Are they branding their book that they've just written, or are they branding their expertise, as in someone who is a coach per se?
Ha ha, I gave you something fun to look at.
Okay, well, so I don't even need to know the left person, you know, that she is a major pop star icon, and there are so many, but she sticks out among the rest because Lady Gaga is a total persona on her own. Michael Bublé, which I absolutely adore, which is on the right, he's always classic. He's always wearing a suit and tie. You know from that image, you know what kind of genre he plays in, and it's just they both did some great branding.
So in this situation, this is about branding yourself, and Michael Bublé has chosen to be the bad boy, classic bad boy, and a lot of young kids or a lot of young crowd maybe can identify to that image. You know, the little beard, the tie that is not attached. So this is something that people can relate to. Correct?
Yes, he's a cool cat.
I like that. Okay, then we have, oh my gosh, we have me here. Let's talk about my branding.
Okay, so branding a product, you're a very good example, Suzanne. You have taken all your social media platforms and you've created a beautiful brand by image, using your book cover and the word SOAR in block letters with the coloring the blue. You've added your photos. And you're using the same tones of color, and it all blends together, and it's just a great marketing tool that you have done.
So I'm sure out there's other authors that would maybe thinking about, thank you by the way, but I'm thinking about the other authors that are there and saying, well, I have another book coming up. What if my cover is not going to be the same cover, a color cover as my book is right now? What do you suggest? That I keep on branding me and then just add the books under me?
Well, I think that there needs to be some kind of similarity between the books if they're all under the same genre. But if you're writing nonfiction and fiction, for example, then you want to brand yourself. You want to brand yourself as the author, not necessarily the books.
I see. Okay, so I think maybe on the next slide we have a perfect example for that, because I think this person has branded himself, but he's also branded himself as an authority or as an expert. And let's see if you know this guy. Do you see him?
Of course, yes. Well, I don't know him personally, but yes, I do know of him, and he is quite a character. Now, what's interesting about how he has worked his brand, obviously, all of his, he's a writer, but he's also a a speaker. What's the word I'm looking for?
He's a
motivational. He's a motivational speaker.
Yes, he is.
Yes. So what I love about Larry is just his outrageous shirts, his matching cowboy boots, and he just has that real no hold bar, I'm going to tell it like it is attitude, right?
Yeah, and that's why he's known as the pit bull of self-development.
Right, right.
And when you look, what jumps to me is like when you look at each one of the titles of his books, there is something that it makes you probably get out of your comfort zone, like grow a pair, like a pair of, like where does that take you? Shut up and stop whining. So, of course, with titles like that, he really stands out. And he's really created his mark, and his point of view is so strong that you don't have the choice but listen to what he has to say. Even if you don't agree with him, his point of view is very, very strong.
And you can see that from his book covers. They're not all the same. His titles are very, very similar. Like they all have kind of the same feeling to them. But he really is, like you said, he's really branding himself. And how he's branding himself is that he's always kind of wearing the same type of clothes. Correct?
Yeah, well, he lives in Arizona as well.
Well, yes, I mean, yes.
So that's easy for him to find all those funky boots, but yeah. So yes, so when he walks the talk. So when you meet him on the streets, he's exactly that. He's exactly Larry Winget.
Which is a very good point. He's very authentic.
Absolutely. So now I chose somebody else as well that I really like as well for different reason, but here he is. Oh, I'm a golfer, so I have to put the best golfer of the world out there. So let's talk about his brand.
Well, what's interesting about a brand is that, and this is a very good example, creating a brand, you want to nurture and you want to protect your brand. So, and we just talked about being authentic to your brand and really walking the walk and talking the talk. And I'm not too sure if he did this, if Tiger Woods really did this, and this is why his brand failed.
Oh, interesting point. I don't think we can read on the second slide. I wish I could put that bigger because what is written in white is very particular. Let me see if I can move closer. A proper method is the one that removes all doubt.
Mm.
So it's that's a we could talk about that particular situation like forever,
So
but
he's
it's
recreating his brand, trying to recreate his brand
based on what happened to him.
based on what happened.
So
And
how to turn a negative to a positive so the brand is not totally destroyed.
right, right, yes. But it's a very good lesson. I mean, it was a very, very good lesson regarding branding.
Yeah, I remember. I'm happy you catched on that because I remember I chose that slide, that picture of him for a reason, because on the left is all before that. Just do it. I did, and then the no doubt new approach of it. So
Yeah.
okay. So then afterwards, we're going to be going to, we talk about the authorities, branding yourself, branding a product, and then we have a guy that I think you know as well, and he's a little bit out of the context, but it's kind of going to be fun to talk about it.
And who's that? Oh, yes, Gary. Well, Gary, anybody in the social media marketing knows him quite well, and yeah, and I find it interesting that you would choose this photo because I don't think a lot of people know his history. But he is definitely a marketing guru.
Yeah, and he also likes wine.
Which I know
So
you do too, Suzanne.
yeah, and being a marketing guru doesn't stop him from being an expert in wine as well. It's just that he chosen to be really seen and perceived as the expert in social media, not in the wine business.
Right. And which is it's actually kind of clever that you use this because I think that the fact that we're an expert in our field, and this is what our branding is about, we still need to show that we're a well-rounded person. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
okay.
Okay, so then we're going to go to a really, I mean, so many things that we're touching, but the next one we're going to be touching brand positioning, and I know that this is your forte. So when we do brand positioning, Audrey, what is created exactly?
So I'm not too sure. What do you mean? What is created?
Well, when you create a brand and you try to position your brand, and I just put the focus on the values over there, before you're able to put your brand out there, isn't it important for you to find your market? Who's your niche market?
Well, of course, yes, yes. You need to know where your market is, who is listening to you. See how you are unique within your space.
I did find that, some example of the values of company. I know we can talk about Apple until tomorrow, until the next year, because I
Well,
think
I know
Apple.
I could.
Yeah, it's just amazing what's done over there. But I decided to choose two companies that are totally different, and I'm going to let you talk about them. And one company is really putting their values up front really strongly. And talk about that one first, okay?
Okay. Oh, right. Okay. So Lululemon, it's a Canadian company. And for people who don't know, they do yoga apparel. And the founder just was quoting that not all bodies should be wearing his product. So basically saying that some people make his product look bad, his clothes look bad. He has since stepped down as CEO of the company, and just like Tiger Woods, they are going through a branding review because it really, really damaged their brand.
Mm-hmm. And did you want to say something about life is good?
Well, life is good. Hey, what more can I say? It's good. No, this is such a I don't know the story behind the company, and I think you do, Suzanne. But the bottom line is, this company, everybody knows. And I mean, it's on T-shirts, it's everywhere. Go on Pinterest, you'll see it all over the place because it has such positive messages, and all of the images are very, very similar. There's always the life is good at somewhere, and it's just a feel-good, great, great company.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if that's okay with you, and I think that might interest our audience to know a little bit more about who's behind Life is Good. First of all, the two people that are running this company is Bert and John Jacobs. And I had the privilege of meet with John Jacobs at one of the conference in 2013 that I attend to. And they're two brothers of 6 kids. And those two brothers, they started one day in their garage, and that's how the company grew from their own garage to $1 million company now. The Life is Good motto means do what you like what you do. Their logo is the message. And if you have a minute, the pessimism is the problem they are solving. So when they came up with this, it was at a time when I think the economy, or I don't know what was happening, but pessimism is the problem they are solving. So they solve it with.
Absolutely. What year did they start their company?
I think it's 25 years ago.
25 years ago.
I think.
Okay, so that's when the real down, and the economy wasn't very good, and I mean, not much has changed, has it? But they came at a very good time, and everybody needed to hear positive messages. Great, and it's a great message. I absolutely love it.
Yeah, and all their messages about optimism and all the design and all that. So I think they really succeed in putting their brand very strong out there as well.
Well, yeah, and it's having fun in life, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yep. Okay.
So that brings us to the brand development. And I'm going to talk about it, Audrey, and please feel free to interrupt whenever you have something to add.
Yes.
The brand development is the brand development is about defining the need. Really, is to look at the problem that people have and how can you solve it. Mm-hmm. And that's why we were just saying that Life is Good. They did such a good job with their company. Do you have an idea of a company you want to talk about that they look at the problem and they solved it through their brand?
Well, I love Target. And I will always use Target as an example. And they really, first of all, great branding is the big bullseye because they really hit it on the nose. And everyone knows that is quality products at an inexpensive price.
Right, and you know what, because I know you love Target so much, this is where I went like a really investigator. I went to do some research, and I've got this little article, and I don't know if you know anything about the story, but let me give you that briefly, okay?
Okay.
Because they started to solve the problem back in between 1902 and 1961, and it was the company, yeah. Dayton Dry Goods Company was funded in 1902 by George Draper Dayton. He was a banker who built his wealth by buying farm mortgages in southwest Minnesota. And he was an active member of the Westminster Presbyterian Church in Minneapolis. During the Panic of 1893, which caused in 1893, that's far away, which caused a decline in real estate prices, the Westminster Presbyterian Church burned down, and because its insurance wouldn't cover the cost of the new building, the church was looking for revenue. Its congregation appealed to Dayton to buy the empty corner lot next to the demolished building for the church so it could rebuild. So that's what he did. So he rebuilt that corner, and on that corner, what he did, he looked for different tenants to go into that building. He changed the name of the store, and just a long story short, he created, Target became like, because it was located to another big store that was more fancy and all that, Target, it was named Target, so it would be really focused on an upscale discount retail store.
Interesting. I never knew that. Wow. Well,
I mean, I could have read the whole article here. It was so interesting to read, but isn't it impressive?
very impressive. I had no idea. And see, their branding is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Mm-hmm. So that's about defining the need, and I think some companies are really successful at doing that. The other thing that I think is very important in brand development is shared objectives. And what I mean by shared objectives is to what you incorporate in your brand is something that is really relevant to the people, to your audience. Because it's really about helping your customer achieve their objectives and goals.
Yeah, in real time, like at this very moment. Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and I do believe in alignment about who you are and your company's message. So it's about being aligned with what we offer, with what their problem is.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that?
Absolutely, yes. I have nothing to add. Perfect.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. Then the other thing, of course, engage with your market. You know, for me, I've seen so many companies, they create a brand and they don't do any changes with their brand. They don't evolve. They don't evolve with their audience and all that. And for me, engaging with your market is really about listening. It's not a monologue over here where you're doing all the talking, but it's really listening to your market. And I think especially more now than ever, because we live in this world of social media, social engagement, and social listening. Everybody knows what's happening on Facebook, all the twittering and all that, you know. So we all have emotional intelligence, and we need to learn social intelligence as well.
Which is a really good point. There is a lot of noise out there. And so it's really important for brands to speak from their heart. And when they speak from their heart or they speak from the truth, then they will never contradict themselves. So consistency is extremely important in a brand when you're branding oneself.
Yeah, consistency. And we didn't talk about the little secret of perfect branding, did we?
I don't know.
Not yet.
What secret is that?
Well, you know what? I've been doing so much research recently, and they say that the little secret, yeah, we did. You just did. The little secret about brand, a good brand, is consistency. But apparently now what they're adding to it is personalization. And this is what, I haven't put a slide on it, but Loblaws is starting to do about personalizing really the customer. They're going to have an app on their phone. Loblaws are going to send them a message when they're going to be running out of peanut butter and say, we have peanut butter that you like on sale this weekend. Come and get it, 2 for the price of 1, whatever. But it's their personalization to their customers.
Well, yes, and they're also providing filling in a need there, making it easy for people, right? So
exactly.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant.
So then it brings us to, we could elaborate on engaging with your market, but I'm going to, just to close that particular bullet, is to say it's about creating relationship. We create relationship on LinkedIn. We create relationship on social media. The brand is creating relationship with its favorite niche market. So let's not forget that. It's about building relationship and nurturing your relationship.
To add to that is that people need to see that there's a real person behind the brand. And that's what the relationship's about. And so, and it goes back to authenticity too. So, people really want to hear what you have to say, and they will say something, and they'll be thrilled to hear back from you.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. The other thing that we want to talk about is the brand tools. I know I skipped that slide over there is because I really wanted to show the logo that Target has, and you cannot miss that. I mean, it's really Target, you know. In the brand tools, this is marketing, and this is a part where I get excited a lot more because it's about the creativity of what the logo is going to look like, what kind of colors you're going to choose, the colors that you're going to wear, the feeling that people are going to have when they look at your brand, because it's all about giving an experience to your customer, right?
Well, yes, exactly. So there's a woman I know. She's a blogger, and she's created a lovely brand around a single hat. Wherever she goes, she wears this beautiful orange hat. And I know, I can pick her out in a crowd. I know her blog because of that hat. And so I think that it's, and I'm not saying it has to do that. You have to find your own thing, just like Larry. He found his own thing with wacky shirts and cowboy boots. And so you can, brand what you wear. Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think, I think my brand is still evolving right now because it's such a young brand. And between you and I and whoever is listening right now, I need a song. I need a song that really represents me. It used to be I Will Survive, but now I want something, something bigger and younger as well. But yeah, so whoever is listening, if you want to suggest a song, I'm all ears. Please send it in. That would be great. So now it brings us to, I think, the last thing we have the time to talk about today. I know we have so much more that we can talk about, but the last one is really the brand story, and it's all about emotion. So, Audrey, I'm going to let you talk about that a bit, and if there's something more to add, I'll just go ahead and do it.
Well, yeah, well, this goes back on the brand image, and when we're on, because I'm social media, I'm really thinking of the social media part of marketing and branding, and we want to create an image through that an avatar or logo or whatever that really reaches people. And so the choice of colors and images are so important with the brand story.
Yeah, and you would you say that that story needs to be told through everything you do?
Yes, exactly. And remember, an image tells story in 1,000 words, one single image that you use.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. You can just put a picture there, and you don't have to talk. The picture says everything. Yeah. And I think we also use your brand story to communicate what you stand for, what you promise, and what your customer experience.
Yeah, what they can expect from you.
Absolutely. So I think the brand story is also at the base of the brand image, absolutely. So it's really important that when you start working on your brand, go back there. What is the story that you want to tell to people? What is the story that people can relate to? So when you start putting yourself out there, like, we can talk about, well, let's talk about me, Audrey. Maybe you can help me with this.
It's funny. I was just about to say that. Why don't you tell your story, Suzanne?
Well, I'm not going to tell my whole story now because we don't have the time today, no. But we're saying that to use your brand story to communicate what you stand for. Well, what I stand for is authenticity and vulnerability, and not vulnerability in the way that people think it's a weakness, but it's a strength. It's really an openness. So what you see is what you get. Who I am in my home and who I am when you meet at networking and who I am when you see me there, it's me, black and white. So I stand for who I am and my point of view as well. So that brings me to, if we go to the branding, well, do I wear black and white clothes? Because I'm a black and white person.
Well, I guess you could, but I don't think you have to be in that extreme. But I think that's a key point. I mean, when you look at the images on your social media platforms, very natural photo. Your image is outside on a park bench with the wind in your hair, carefree, life. Life is good, and that's the image that you're creating for yourself.
You know what is so funny? Because when we did the photo shoot, there is a picture of me sit on a, it's not even a, well, there's one on the park bench, but there's another picture sitting, on the slide that the kids go down. So there's a picture of me sitting out on top. So it's so funny as you say that.
Yes.
Oh, on the golf course.
Well, yes, yeah, yeah. So the golfer, that's not quite the image. The image is really you're carefree, you're happy with where you are at this very moment in your life, and your photos say that about you.
Yay!
Um,
So that's very important.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So I think we covered the 5 stages. Do you want to just walk through them again, Suzanne?
Yes, we did cover the 5 stages, and the first one was what is a brand? What do you brand yourself, a product, or the expert, the authority that you are? The afterwards, it was brand positioning, the brand development, and the brand story.
So
So go
so
ahead.
what I'd like to propose is for the people that are watching this is that I'm going to put our email address, so we don't need to say them out loud. I'll put them email address on the screen so they'll see it, and they can contact either you or I and offer people a 15-minute free consultation on how to get started on branding.
No, I think it's a wonderful idea, Audrey, and let's put it out there, our email address, and we're available for you guys. I had fun doing this, and I hope you had fun as well. Audrey, you had fun?
Yes, and this is the beginning of our series. So we're going to actually go through our complete stages of marketing and promoting oneself.